Let's move on to the San Antonio Spurs. My question is not, since I kind of already tackled that in another podcast, is Keldon Johnson an all-star? I don't think we need to dig too much deeper into their bigger picture. Just we need more samples from, they tried Jeremy Sohan at point guard basically against the Warriors.
That was fun, by the way.
That went about as well. Yeah, for super fun for the Warriors. I will, however, say, did we undersell how good the highest end outcome for Devin Vassell? And this is as someone who thought Devin Vassell was really good. And so I want to make it clear. I don't mean this in the sense that I think he or even Keldon Johnson, for that matter, is going to run an offense. But Devin Vassell this season, 19.5 points, 41.1% three-point shooting on 7.3 attempts. Doesn't get to the foul line a ton, but he's averaging 3.5 assists per game. And once they traded Derek White last year, his, the number of ball screens that they sent his way went up. And it's definitely the case again this season. When you look at his possessions, 27.2% are coming as the pick and roll ball handler. There are 46 players who finish at least 5 pick and roll possessions as the ball handler per game right now. That's, fairly substantial. Devin Vassell ranks 4th in points per possession here at 1.12. Only in front of him are Tyler Hero, Donovan Mitchell, and guess who? Steph Curry.
We're not going to mention him anymore, I thought. Some other guy.
Yes. So I'm looking at the way he's playing, and it'd be cool if you could get more on-ball rim pressure from him. I think he's someone who can move away from the ball. But this is someone who, when we really start to talk about it, did we give him a Mikal Bridges, like higher than Mikal Bridges ceiling? I mean, I think we gave him the ceiling of Mikal Bridges, but he is doing more with ball screens than probably Mikal Bridges ever had. A lot of that could be opportunity. I know the way that the Suns were built, but did we undersell how good Devin Vassell might be?
I'll speak for myself. I absolutely did. I just thought I slapped the 3, the 3-and-D label, emphasis on the 3. He seemed like a catch and shoot type earlier in his career. You'd see flashes occasionally, but again, so this is the first year of his career, and his role has demonstrably changed this season, and it's because he's capable of it. But he's only his 2-point baskets, right? First 2 years, basically 2/3 of them were assisted. This year, 41% of them are assisted. So that ties into the pick and roll accuracy, which what you're seeing a lot of is he's a deadly mid-range shooter this year. 53.3%, 10 to 16 feet. Between 16 and the 3-point line, 58.8%. And he's shooting like a decent percentage of his shots from that range. So what that's telling me is if he's getting around a screen, he's totally fine being the guy that takes one dribble and pulls up. And we just talked about like shot location data for team defense and how, if you get a team to take a pull-up mid-range shot, like pretty good defensive possession. That's not true for Devin Booker. That's not true for, any number of Steph Curry, CJ McCollum. It's not true for certain guys that are going to make that shot. And Vassell looks like he's going to be that guy, which is just wild to me. And like you said, his numbers, I mean, he's only playing 30.9 minutes per game. If you go to per 36, he's like 23, 5, and 4, and he's 22 years old. So, or it says age 22 season. He just turned 22 before the year. Like, we could get our basketball reference filters out if we wanted to, but like, I'll take that per 36 from a guy who's also suddenly just showing that he can be an on-ball threat. I think it's fair. Like, I'm really high on Keldon Johnson. I think it's a question. I think it's a question of which of those two, Johnson's been the Team USA. He's kind of, I think, been regarded as the more productive or higher, ceiling guy. I'm open to have a conversation now. And Vassell, for sure, I think this year, Johnson's scoring more, but what we've seen from Vassell is like, he's a different kind of player than we thought he was, which I think is the question you're asking. I think for sure we sold him short, and he's just gotten way better.
Do you know who I'm wondering if he could become? And I think
Bradley Beal.
No. Okay. Wow. There's Can he become Khris Middleton?
Ooh, that's fun. I like that.
I'm wondering if that's too high, because I think Khris Middleton is ridiculously good and people still kind of undersell it. I think his last contract had a lot to do with that, which is just stupid. when I look at Khris Middleton, I'm like, okay, that dude can anchor offensive units entirely on his own. We don't know that Devin Vassell can do that yet. At the same time, the units Khris Middleton is anchoring on his own, like those are like he's playing a lot of his minutes with Giannis or Drew when he hasn't played this season. We know that. Thank you, everybody. But like Devin Vassell very much would have to be the guy right now in San Antonio. We know it's Trey Jones, like that's who they prefer to have really oversee their offense when he's healthy. But can Devin Vassell then turn into them where it's like, oh, you trust him with maybe one mediocre creator around him to really jack up your offense, where Khris Middleton is better than that. But like, we're talking about, oh, he could have been Mikal Bridges 3-and-D. Like, should we have been more looking at where it's Khris Middleton, who is way more than a 3-and-D player?
So just to make the comparison, Khris Middleton's age 22 season, his first year with the Bucks. Now he was like sort of the Pistons gave up on him, but
sort of.
literally did. He was a starter that year, right? This is 2013-14. Looking at his per 36s, percentages are a lot like Vassell's, 41% from three, but he's at 14.5 points, 4.5 boards, 2.5 assists. So at this phase, Middleton did not have Vassell's like on ball stuff, his facilitating, all that. And it's not like those Bucks teams were great yet, right? So like Giannis was not anything close to Giannis yet. You don't get up to the Vassell's level of numbers, what Vassell's doing right now, until you get Middleton to like age 26, and the Bucks were good by then. So, I mean, the Middleton comparison is legit, I think. And it's kind of similar because similar size, just not like nuclear athleticism. Middleton is like, relatively speaking, like not an athletic wing, and Vassell's got a little more of that. So yeah, that's an interesting comparison. I think there's a lot to that.